Oh, good evening, Slim. Good to see you. Q and Dustin will be along in about 10 minutes. They're running a little bit behind. Everything seems to be running a little bit behind today. I spent from probably about 9 o'clock this morning till about 2 on the phone today. I've never talked to so many people in one day on the telephone in a long time. It's tiring dealing with paperwork and bureaucracy. But we got through it, and we're here this evening. It was a little up in the air for a little while, but we made it. Hi, Mama Jan. Good to see you. And we're glad to have everybody here with us this evening. Slim, you can let Shirley know we got a box today. Thank you very much. And I don't know. I know Q will be home Sunday because the funeral is on Monday, but he may or may not be bringing Dustin with him. I'm not sure, but anyway, it'll get back to camp Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime next week. But we appreciate it. And I didn't unfold all the flags and look at them because I know Q likes to do that. So we'll let that for Q to do since he has such a good time with it. And the dogs, the dogs made my phone calls interesting this afternoon. The state road guys, we have a couple things going on across the road. They're cutting timber or tree. Well, some of it's timber and some of it's sawwood. And they've been working over there about a month now, and looks like they're taking most of the trees off the place. They, at one time, had put in for a zoning change to make one of these community solar farms where they take a 20-acre patch. Well, this one was 20 acres and put up solar panels that's supposed to help provide electricity for the community. But the company that does it is not our electric company or that everybody uses. There's some co-op that then you have to buy your electric off the co-op, and it turns out to be more expensive than what you buy from the big electric company that's in the area. And right across from where they wanted to put this is all these expensive vacation homes that people have built, and some of them they rent them out like 50 weeks a year or 48, and then they use it the other 3 or 4 weeks a year for their own personal use. But the big deal is, oh, you can buy a vacation home on Deep Creek Lake and then rent it out, and that'll pay the mortgage. So you'll have 2 houses, but it'll be like only having one mortgage. And they weren't happy that they were going to be looking out their windows where there used to be this beautiful field and trees, and suddenly there's going to be a solar farm. So I'm not sure. I mean, I know when they had the meeting on it, but there was never anything published as to whether or not it went through. But they've been over here cutting trees like crazy. And then the state road guys are starting to clean out ditches and all the spring and summer jobs that they do. So the dogs have been crazy all day. Yeah, Mama Jan, money grabbers. And they called around to all the people, the energy company called around to all the people who live close to this piece of ground. And one of the places is a complex of condominiums that have about 80 condos in them. So I'm sure they had a good time talking to all those people. And where we sit across the road from them, so we wouldn't see it at all. And it wouldn't have any effect on us. But while they're telling you all this stuff about, what the law is and what they have to do, and they have to have this tree barrier and whatnot, they're also trying to get you to sign up with their energy co-op. So it's a real hard sell from both. Oh, what a wonderful thing this will be for the community. Well, it doesn't really do a whole lot for our community except, put up this big thing of solar panels in this field, where to me, if each house had their own individual, like those Generac things with, the solar panels on the roof and a big enough bank of batteries, you wouldn't need an electric company. Hi. Hi.
Who all we got? Mama Jan and Yellow Rose and Slim. Oh, wait a minute, what a bump.
I gave you to 10 o'clock and you were still late.
We just got back from supper.
Yeah.
Hi, Mama Jan. Yellow Rose, Slim, and everybody. Good to see you. Dustin's out hooking up the propane tanks. We got the propane filled up. And had a enjoyable meal at well-known spot. Familiar spot. That's the word I'm looking for. Familiar spot. Lido's Pizza.
Oh, pizza night.
Now, I had steak and cheese hoagie. It was better than pizza. Hi, Julie. Good to see you, Julie. Hope everybody's having a good evening this evening. We had a good day in camp. We got a lot done. Got a new toy in camp. I'm not sure. I think I can share a picture. Let me look. Did I send you any pictures of the new one?
No.
Let me see if I can get a picture up here.
You just walked around when you video called me today.
Yeah. Let's see. What? You the only one that can share screen?
No. You should be able to. Oops. You threw yourself out. Oh, no.
Well, button.
Well, that didn't work.
That didn't work. I'm going to quit touching stuff. You can do it.
I don't have a picture.
Oh.
You have to send me a picture before I can share. It's a skid steer. It's a big yellow skid steer with a bucket on the front.
Yeah, but it's a fancy one.
Well,
got a cab, AC, air ride seat, AM, FM, CD radio. Not sure why anybody need a CD radio in there, but you got it. What does it say? Settings. What's that? No, I don't have a share screen on the phone.
Okay. Well.
But anywho, let me see if I can send it to you without cutting myself off here. Hold on a minute.
You're not supposed to wait till the show starts to experiment. Well, he got another weed eater too, and it was supposed to stay here at the house, but it somehow ended up in the back of the pickup when he went back down to camp, because he took all the weed eater. We had a couple here, and when they first moved in down there, he took them all down there, and they all disappeared. They all got legs and walked off. Hi, Meemaw. Good to see you. Early too. But so yeah, a lot of my lawn tools yard tools have disappeared. Shovels and whatnot.
I'll bring your weed eater back. I figured you want me to get you a little bit smaller one.
Well, yeah. I don't need a big honking one like that. Hi, Dustin.
Hi, everybody. I'll be taking a quick intermission here. I have to go to Sheets.
Uh-oh.
What?
Cigarette.
Oh.
You're supposed to make this before you leave.
I just ran out.
Blueberry.
Muffins.
No, if you're going to Sheets, the holes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
All right. Kill two birds with one stone.
Be careful.
Will do. Oh, he's going to hate me because I'm going to wheel him in the truck.
Well, nobody hear him bark.
Right.
He went into bed. He's already in bed.
Come on, buddy.
It won't take long as soon as he hears that. He's out the door.
I'll be back.
All right. I will turn this camera around so y'all see the flag. We'll get on with this.
Okay. Between the expression on your face and watching your finger play with the buttons, that's it looks like something out of a psycho thriller.
Yeah, I know. I do good psycho movies, don't I? You want the clown or Freddy? Which one you want?
Neither one, actually.
Mm.
You know I don't do horror movies.
Well, you've watched one or two with me just to humor me before.
Yeah, and I prefer the psychological ones to the slasher ones, but then they always give me weird dreams.
Yeah. Barbecue burger, I didn't get a barbecue burger.
Well, that's because you weren't at Mama Jan's.
I don't know, cheesesteak. It was pretty good though. You know what they do at Lido's down here?
No.
They smoke their provolone. They get smoked provolone. It is so good.
Cool.
Got it on the cheese fries and on the sub. So,
how's the grandson, Mama Jan? He started PT yet?
yeah, probably some PT.
Hope he's doing well.
I didn't realize that you have to sweep her out over there.
Oh, that's all right. It's not like people have never seen a sweeper before.
Y'all see how clean the floor is?
I did.
Yeah. It didn't miss the corners this time.
Well, that's good.
Some people sweep stuff under the rug. Dustin sweeps it over in the corner.
But he can be taught. He can.
Actually, I think that's more of it. Just kind of worked its way over that way.
Yeah. Well, that's natural progression. That's why I can't wait till we can do a deep clean here and get all the dust bunnies out of the corners. Coda's dreaming.
I was say I heard that. I was like, I'm looking around to see if Buddy was still here.
Nah, she's doing that warble she does.
Yeah.
Chasing red squirrels.
He's gonna do some more cleaning.
Well, that's good.
You better quit your typing while you're driving. I'm gonna take your keys.
Let's see. Mama Jan says her grandson saw the doctor yesterday, looking at another surgery to remove the metal from his wrist. Yeah, I figured the elbow would have to stay. That's a hard one. But at least he's getting rid of some of it.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Good to hear.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't take him long to get back in the swing of things.
He's young. He'll get back quick.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're going to have to put her on camera if she's going to keep talking.
I'm going to have to wake her up. But,
Hey, this is content now. We got some content going on.
yeah, listening to the dog have a dream.
Yeah, me, Mossy's chasing the red squirrel. We have an obese red squirrel they can't catch.
Well,
He's a fat little sucker, but man, can he run?
Yeah, and he's funny too. So
He's been living in a bucket full of sunflower seeds for 6 months, so he's kind of fat.
yeah, he filled his cheeks up every chance he got.
Well, the best one was when he had his cheeks full coming down through the yard with the dogs behind him.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure
it is true. I'm here to
Yeah.
tell you it's true. Squirrels do show a face of panic. They have a panic face.
Yeah, Mama Jan, I'm sure he's really frustrated that he can't drive,
Oh, yeah.
especially if it's a stick shift.
That's probably why I can't drive yet.
It's because he didn't learn how to. The truck drivers did it with the 2 sticks where you put your and you
Arm
do
through the
this.
steering wheel. Yeah, that's a little bit tougher in a car, though.
Yeah, not as big a wheel.
Tend to get hung up. Well,
You're not supposed to be doing mass destruction.
that's the only way you can get them to stick. Let them roll up real fast.
Let what stick and what are we rolling?
The window blind.
Oh, that's okay. I can't operate. I can't operate those kind of window blinds. They don't roll up the way they're supposed to whenever
Here,
I
I'll
get
give you a demo. Here's how you make them roll up. See how they get down? They won't stay down. So you do this.
No.
Then when you bring it back down after you dig it out of the top, it'll stay down.
No, mine good. When I do it, it goes down. It won't go back up.
You gotta snap them and then they stay down. Get this over here too.
Yeah, they're good for that, Meemaw. They liked 1 year Q had 3 or 4 bushes with different kinds of cherry tomatoes and pear tomatoes, and they
Oh yeah, we had. Huh? What?
those little yellow pear tomatoes. They carried them off.
Oh yeah. They're liking them maters. Get y'all up here a little closer. It's up at the back here where I might have to turn it back around, I guess. This ain't gonna work this way.
You're having an awful time.
But you can entertain while I'm having an awful time.
I'm too busy laughing at you. Yes, I guess it is about time to pull that thing out.
Oh yeah, we've already been using it. About halfway time for a new set of batteries.
Well, that's because you played with it so much.
That's not me.
Oh, you did your share.
Somebody else involved with the playing part. But I'm not gonna mention any names right now since he's driving. Or put it that way. Now you can see me in the flag. How's that? But I just got back from supper, so you got some kind of reading to do?
Yes, it's we've been kind of concentrating on other things, and we've kind of let Johnny fall by the wayside. I thought we'd do a little bit of Johnny. Did you know you just messaged me? Oh, there it is.
What?
I said you just messaged
My
me.
phone's doing stuff on its own again?
Well, let's see here. What we got? Oh, I'm not. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
there it is.
Wait a
Yeah, it's
minute.
a video.
Yeah.
There's the new toy. That ain't the big one. There's no right there. Oh, he left the kitchen window open. Yeah, Blue had a little bit easier time with that one. You're gonna video me backing in.
Come here, bud. Buddy. Come here. Buddy. Right here. Come here. We do have a level spot. There's all the operator right there.
Where I stopped there wasn't level though. Had to rearrange some more after he turned the camera off.
Oh, you did pretty.
Yeah, Mom and Sam, we're gonna fix that where Blue looks little. We're gonna get a bigger Blue. Actually, it's gonna be. We're not gonna give up the color on the new one. Pretty good chance it'll be. Pretty good chance it'll be red and white though.
You haven't lost your touch backing up.
No. No, that 25, that beaver tail is easy to back because of the gooseneck.
Yeah.
Gooseneck's a lot easier to back than a bumper pull.
Harder to pinch.
Well, yeah, if it's a flatbed, but if it's a camper, nah, not so much.
Well, I know we have the replacement window to prove it.
Yeah. You talk about that's the most shocked, I guess is the word, that I've been in a long time when that bad boy popped. It sounded like a 30-06 went off in the cab.
Well, that was something you learned that day about your new truck was about what's it called, pitch and roll.
Yeah, make sure you turn on pitch and roll before you back up with a camper gooseneck. It wasn't in the manual. Trust me, I read the manual. It wasn't in there.
I think you just missed it.
Yeah, technically, Mama Jan, that trailer, probably you can put enough weight on that trailer for a 1 ton to have to pull it. So, like the backhoe we just had.
Yeah.
Well, the backhoe would have been all right as long as we didn't get on up here in the hills. If we'd have stayed on the flat ground, it wouldn't have been the problem.
Oh, you're going to tell on yourself?
No,
Okay.
I already did once.
No.
Yeah, I think I did. I think you missed. You maybe wasn't on the live where I told about it.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah, Blue had trouble getting up the hill with the overweight backhoe.
Driver error.
Yeah, driver should have drove the backhoe up on the hill and loaded it.
Which I think somebody suggested that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wonder who that was.
And see, I didn't use the other phrase. I phrased nicely.
Oh, wait a minute. What was that? I just got a text message. Wait a minute. That looked like it was important.
Okay, is it? Was it?
I'll let you know in a minute.
Oh.
I gotta figure out how to get you, keep you on and find it though. You're gonna have to talk so I know I didn't lose you.
No, you're still here. But anyway, while he's doing that, as I've started 3 times now, we'll do a little Johnny tonight since it's been a while. Sovereignhandbook.com. And this is, we're talking about the 14th and 15th Amendment. And this one starts out as corporations have civil rights as legal persons. The 14th, the 14th, or it could be the 15th, because they took that one amendment out, created legal persons, corporations, trusts, and U.S. citizens, and this was right after the Civil War, giving these legal fictions civil rights to hold equitable interest in property that previously could only be owned in a lodium by a natural-born living human being or sovereign state citizen. This massive shift in constitutional principles opened up the door for both domestic and foreign corporations to acquire equitable interest in properties not available before the American Civil War. The 14th Amendment was clearly as unconstitutional as the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which had already been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. However, neither have been challenged or overturned to this day. In violation of the U.S. Constitution, the federal U.S. government had essentially conferred a title of nobility upon the newly manufactured U.S. citizens by granting certain benefits, privileges, and securities to any person who accepted them. This was another beginning of the return to ruler's law. The 14th Amendment served the growing Federalist movement well, centralizing even more power within the federal U.S. government corporation, at the expense of the sovereign states and their respective state citizens. The United States and European power structures behind the Federalist movement were slowly but purposefully encroaching upon the sovereignty of the people of the United States of America. A person is born subject to the jurisdiction of the federal United States if his birth occurs in territory over which the federal United States is sovereign, even though another country provides all government services within the territory and the territory is subsequently ceded to the other country. After the American Civil War, the federal U.S. government corporation and the European power structures operating behind the scenes, both domestically and abroad, demonstrated clear intent to expand their power base and invade the sovereignty of the sovereign state republic. Like building blocks via one constructive fraud built upon another through threat, duress, or coercion, even war if necessary, the rise and expansion of the federal U.S. government power and non-constitutional authority continued unabated until there were no sovereign state citizens and no free or independent states remaining in the Union. For without sovereign states and without sovereign state citizens who have standing to question the de jure authority and challenge federal jurisdiction of the United States and European power structures behind the scenes in the land of the free, who actually rules? Is it you or I? The word citizen is used in the 14th Amendment, is used in a political sense to designate one who has the rights and privileges of a citizen of a state or of the United States, and does not mean the same thing as a resident, inhabitant, or person. The 14th Amendment substituted sovereign unalienable rights with government-granted privileges, benefits, or civil rights. Any reference to the 14th Amendment protecting unalienable rights over privileges is invalid. See a history overview of the unlawful enactment of the 14th Amendment by the Utah Supreme Court. This important distinction between unalienable rights and civil rights has been clearly established by the U.S. Supreme Court. We, the people, have lost our unalienable rights because inadvertently we became 14th Amendment U.S. citizens. Is there any wonder you feel powerless against the government? If we, the people, were ever the ultimate authorities against the massive centralization of government and corporate power in the hands of the few, then we must exercise those forgotten or hidden unalienable rights and do so en masse. A lesser known but more profound consequence of the 14th Amendment made economic slaves of every U.S. citizen, making them liable to pay the debts of the federal U.S. government corporation in exchange for privileges, benefits, and so-called civil rights. Thus, the federal U.S. government could justify borrowing an unlimited credit line from private international bankers and hold U.S. citizens, not sovereign state citizens, accountable for the repayment of the national federal debt. This amendment paved the way for the subsequent Federal Reserve Act of 1913 and the bankruptcies that inevitably followed. The validity of the public debt of the United States shall not be questioned. The 14th Amendment. In conclusion, instead of the 13th Amendment emancipating the newly freed African American slaves, the 14th Amendment ultimately made economic slaves of every legal person, including setting corporations on an equal footing with a natural-born human being. This revelation inspired me to write this book, me being Johnny Liberty, to help reclaim the sovereignty for all people. Money is the new form of slavery, different from the old, only in that it is no direct personal relationship between the master and the slave. Leo Tolstoy. A certificate of live birth is a verified affidavit by parents, doctors, midwives, or other attendants at the birth to verify the legal existence of a newborn child. These are not the same documents as a birth certificate, which were created by the Shepherd-Towner Maternity Act of 1921, 53 years after the 14th Amendment, so that children of the newly freed African Americans and everyone else be registered as chattel property of the federal U.S. government corporation. Incidentally, your birth certificate is an unrevealed trust instrument that created a legal fiction, person or trust, in the same name as you were given at birth by your parents. The only difference is that the trust is named in all capital letters instead of upper and lowercase letters.
That's your straw man.
Yeah. Today, birth certificates register all U.S. citizens as subjects and chattel property under exclusive legislative democracy of the District of Columbia through the Census Bureau of the U.S. Department of Commerce. This alias is the first nexus for what has come to be called your straw man in the redemption movement. And then
Check your chat.
check my what? Okay.
Somebody had a question. I said, check your chat.
Saint Germain Trust, correct? I
That
don't
was
know.
Johnny. That wasn't what Johnny called it, was it?
No, he called it straw man.
Yeah. Well, that's what we all have. That is our entity to the corporation.
Yeah. Well, because I have a certificate of live birth, which that's where we got in trouble at the airport before everybody had to have a passport before 9/11.
Yeah.
I almost didn't get to go to Cancun because I had a certificate of live birth as opposed to a birth certificate.
Right.
And
I remember that.
I had to sign an affidavit and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. That was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was screwing up even back in. No, we've been getting screwed over by the corporation known as our federal government now since 1791.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there were people who came here to escape like religious persecution from the Spanish Inquisition and, different forms of persecution. But the main thing that came here was the companies, the corporations in Europe, the rich people in Europe were funding expeditions to come find new resources, new territories for them to get, furs and gold and silver and whatever they could get
Yeah.
from this new land. So the old money has always tried to keep control of what was going on.
Mhm.
Which, France was always an enemy of England. So during the revolution, France supported us, the United States against Britain. It's just, everybody's in bed with everybody else. So they're
Pretty much. Well, the elite, they all cling together because they have all the same ideals about how everybody on the planet should be living their life.
well, and they've all intermarried for hundreds of years, and cousins marrying cousins, and the money has all stayed within a certain, the Rothschilds, the Windsors,
Mhm.
certain families.
Yeah, me mom nailed it. Old money is losing their shit now, though. Biden is Biden.
But
Money to stop all bank withdrawals.
yeah,
Sorry, it's too late for that. They can't stop it now. They let the interest rates go out of control, and there's no stopping it. It ain't going to stop until the dollar fails. That's fact. And just so everybody's understanding of this has all been covered now since 2017 with a gentleman named, excuse me, not a gentleman, an entity named Q. we've been hearing about everything that's going on right now since 2017,
Yeah, well, it first started out as with Anonymous, and
right?
then
Well, Anonymous was more of creating
chaos.
chaos in order to get people to pay attention. That's the way they got people to wake up and pay attention, was to create chaos. So what happened, this is my theory, by the way, not fact, is that Anonymous refined their ways and became what is now, I think, a think tank known as Q. And that is President Trump's elite. The same as the other side have elite, we have elite too. So it's a battle of the elites. Who has the most money?
Well, sure. I mean, like if you go by old families, like on one side there was the Kennedys. They're an old family. You know, they're the money's old enough that, you know, the kids that are coming now are, you know, getting stipends from the money that, you know, old Joe made. And then on the other side, you have the Rockefellers and the Bushes and, you know, all those, the old family money where, you know, the kids, they wouldn't even have to work really because they're all getting stipends from the family trusts.
Yep. And Mima says Suicide Weekend. The Q. Yep. The thing of it is, I've been watching and paying close attention. My little pet peeve with the Q information is what's called first arrest. And there was a couple other people in the past that I had picked and said that I was figuring them to be the first arrest. But I've changed it and I'm gonna stick with this one, I think, all the way through. The guy that got the border wide open, Mr. Mayorkas.
Oh,
I believe after the way he just got his butt chewed in Congress, there's a good chance he's the first public arrest.
yeah.
And that's going to be a major marker for things getting set straight. The first public arrest.
I can't watch him. I want to just smack the smirk right off his face.
Smirk, he's a robot. That's that smirk you're talking about. That's a robot face.
Yeah.
What is it with those eyes anyway? Got to be robot eyes.
Say he's truly been replaced by a pod person.
Yeah, he's pod people.
So look for the zipper.
Nobody can be that ignorant to sit in Congress and lie like he's lying. And they already know he's lying. You can tell by the way they're asking him questions.
Yeah.
They already know the answer to the questions, and he ain't giving the right answer on some of them.
Well, a couple of the people weren't even, they were just making statements. They said, you're not going to talk because we know everything out of your mouth is a lie. So why let you talk? And I'll just sit here and do my thing.
Yeah. Mimo's got an interesting theory. The first one of the 3 suicides. That's interesting. Could be. It could very well be. Yeah, I've heard some about that side of things, as far as the suicides and the different what they call them, covenants, I guess.
Well, those they didn't just start, but some of the most publicized ones was back during the Clinton administration when I can't think of his name now, but he was high up in the administration, and when the thing with the guns came out, he was the scapegoat. And
oh yeah, what was his name?
Ron. Oh shoot!
Perlman?
No, that's an actor.
Yeah, that's actor.
But this guy was a real straight shooter, and you know, never did anything like that or anything. And then all of a sudden, it's like he committed suicide, and there was all these things that came out that he supposedly did when he was probably the only honest person in the administration.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all coming unwound. Just as Q's been saying. Every day is something new where more and more people are shaking their head and wondering what's going on. Yeah, Durham's the one to pay attention to, me, Ma. That's Dave on X22 spends a lot of time talking about Durham. There's a lot of research going through that's going through too. That's right. Future proves past. All right, Dustin, good deal. Be safe.
Well, that's because people today don't think history applies. And, they've stopped learning the lessons of the past. So they're constantly repeating them.
That's the reason we're erasing history. That's the reason they're tearing down statues and changing the names of places and so on, so that we're making the same mistakes over again.
Yeah.
If they erase it, we don't know what it was. We can't learn from it. When I say we, I'm not talking about our generation. I'm talking about from the millennials and forward.
Yeah. My fingers aren't working tonight.
And that's something I've been thinking about. Why is it that millennials such as Dustin and people like him that are that age group that are awake, I'm not saying woke, I'm saying awake to what's going on and wanting it fixed, why aren't that peer group needs to be putting peer pressure on the ones doing all the other stuff? Because they are having their history erased so that they're not going to be able to have anything to teach their kids about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to go down the road and see a statue of General Lee or anything else that has to do with the Confederacy. And that's just as much part of the history as the Union. So when they erase half, there is no history.
Yeah.
History disappears when you take half of it away.
No, Mama Jan. We haven't heard anything from him. It's got me kind of worried.
Yeah. Well, we have his number, don't we? Because I need to. One of us should be talking to him about the redox.
I think I have an email address. I don't think I have a phone number.
Well,
no,
I was just thinking about that earlier today. I would have been out of touch with him.
Yeah.
Yes, me, Malls, you're right. Most of them are. I'll agree with the word most as the same as many. But the good news is there's a whole lot of patriot families that have millennial kids that are clued in, and people like Dustin that are being clued in as we speak, type of thing. So there is hope for that generation, and we got to make sure we teach as many of them as possible and keep the patriot teachings going, so that the next generation after millennials has at least some people talking about it and teaching people.
Well, and more people that have conservative values or are homeschooling their kids or sending them to private school. They're not putting them in the public school system.
Right. Well, the public school system's garbage at this point.
Yeah. Well, if you a lot of states are starting to pass laws when it comes to education. They're not just letting the state board of education run roughshod over everything.
Let's see. Well, how we do that? like that, right? Yeah, there it is. That's good. Yeah, that made my evening. Well, who else? We can't ban all schools because then we won't be teaching anybody anything. And if you don't teach anybody anything, it's not going to be much of a world to live in. I understand where you're coming from with that, but I don't think it's a solution.
No,
You got to ban the crap that's being taught by. Well, I guess you're already you did, Johnny, so you're already gonna have to privatize this one. So I'll go ahead and speak my piece. You're gonna have to get rid of all the liberalism in our education system. That goes all the way from kindergarten to fourth year college. That's the problem. There's no fair and balance like Fox News claims to be within our educational system. Because a lot of people haven't been paying attention, it has leaned way over to the left.
Well, they're more worried about things like gender identity and privilege than they are reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Private schools generate profit by charging people to go to them.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you think parochial schools and private schools have done it all these years? So, they have donors, they have tuition. They always make their way.
Meanwhile, I wondered myself about that, the 9/11 truth. They weren't able to cover it up because of the video era, but they did manage to quiet it down to the point where hardly anybody talks about it anymore. There's another little thing that they've been able to quiet down, and this is something that I'm going to make sure there's a lot of noise made about because of the fact that we're actually having conversations within certain groups of wondering why there's a need for a little thing called the FBI. And that's something else that is my pet peeve as far as what's been swept under the rug is none of the murdering FBI agents have been brought to justice. We can go back if you want to. We can talk about Ruby Ridge. We can talk about Waco, which would be a whole bunch of them. Or let's go ahead and talk about Lavoy Finicum for a minute. The man was unarmed. He got out of a vehicle and was shot in the back by a FBI agent. Murder 1. And the man's still free. As long as that kind of stuff hasn't been fixed, we can't fix the big stuff. You having a moment of silence for somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You might want to say that so we know what it's for.
No, just kind of letting that sink in there for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, the video age has, but then we get back to how, unless you're live on the spot watching, the video live, with editing techniques these days, it's, you can make a video say whatever you want it to say, even though everybody has a video camera in their hand with their, smartphone.
Well, I agree with everything about what you're saying there, except the food part. The food part we can't get rid of. We do need the federal FDA, but we need the FDA of yesteryear that knew their place and knew their lane and stayed in it. The FDA of today doesn't know their lane. They're like the rest of the 3-letter and 4-letter government agencies. But I do agree with the fact that I'm going to say 90% of all 3-letter federal government agencies can be eliminated and taken down to the state level, plain and simple.
Well, the federal government has duplicated a lot of the agencies we have in the states. Like every state has an EPA, every state has a DNR. So there's no need to duplicate it on the federal level.
Who else? I'm a little confused on who you're asking why to, and what about overstepping? If you're talking about the three-letter agencies, we don't have the time to go through all the examples I can give you.
No, he meant the FDA. They just
The FDA, right? No, the FDA is it's out of control on certain levels. Number one, they've been okay with banning cannabis now for well over 70 years. And it just baffles the mind at the number of people that could have been helped with that medicinal plant in those 75 years that didn't have access to it. That's my biggest one for the FDA. But there's many more, many more.
well, the FDA always looks like they're protecting big pharma,
Yeah, they go hand in hand on some things.
and because it's very seldom that I can only think of a couple of drugs in recent history that didn't make it through the FDA approval process for one reason or another. There's very few drugs that get turned down by
Right.
the FDA. But if you come in with a natural supplement or, like you said, cannabis, they're, right there on the dime to not approve it.
Right. Well, and then there's another example. Let's bring in a little piece of evidence that's a really good example of the fact we don't even need the FDA for the most part, and that's because of this. Redox. This is this tree of life and the fountain of youth in one single bottle.
Well, and there's more and more research being done on cell signaling.
But my point is, it's not FDA approved because they don't even want it to be FDA approved.
Right, but there's more, like colleges, the medical schools and a lot of colleges are now have departments that are strictly for studying cell signaling.
Yep.
So that it's become a legitimate science ever since 1998 when it was won a Nobel Prize in medicine, and Dr. Samuelson was able to help stabilize the redox.
Give it a shelf life, yeah. That it was able to be marketed and kept to be used when that's one's leisure, basically.
Yeah, and who else but Pino? I would say the opioid epidemic. The fault of that is greed.
I could talk all night about that.
Because the opioids are not a bad thing.
Nope.
But the way people abuse them is a bad thing. And that's from greed.
The other bad thing about opioids is the way they're being purposefully pumped into the public place. Because there's way too many doctors writing way too many prescriptions for pills that really aren't needed. They're just being written because people are addicted and aren't taking the time to become not addicted.
Well, pain clinics are a perfect example of that. It's a factory. You go in, you pee in the cup, you get your prescription, rinse, repeat. Every 30 days, you have an appointment, you pee in the cup to make sure your levels are where they're supposed to be, and you get your next prescription.
And here comes Ruby. And I have firsthand knowledge of all that you just talked about there.
Yeah, two different ones.
Two different ones over, what was it, 3.5 years?
Yeah, and when the rules change, we know people that, they jump from doctor to doctor. Well, now they jump from pain clinic to pain clinic because the pain clinics are supposed to be following these really strict guidelines. But we've seen people in there that the dosage of opioid that they're getting would be enough to knock down an elephant, or at least a
Hold on a
large.
minute. Somebody left the kitchen window open and engaged radio up.
So
Keep radio off.
it's all about greed.
He heard me.
Yeah. And I'm not so sure that we need more regulation. We got plenty of regulation. We need to enforce the regulation that we have.
For the most part, yep. There's certain places where we need more. There's some places where we need a lot less.
Yeah.
Like Maryland going recreational legal on cannabis, 4th of July. That's the less part. See, it works.
Yeah.
I say let's do the same as
Portugal.
Portugal did, and just legalize everything and let the chips fall where they may. Why are we even interfering with somebody wanting to feel better or wanting to feel worse or wanting to be whatever they want to be? This is the United States of America. We are free to do whatever we please within reason.
As long as we
Within the
take
law.
more responsibility.
And if somebody wants to sit off by themselves, off in the woods or in a recliner by themselves in their house or whatever, and feel whatever they want to feel, I say more power to them, because it's about freedom. If they want to do heroin till their brain falls out of their ears, let them do it. All they're doing is increasing the quality of the gene pool. It's that simple.
Well, Dustin said they only had vanilla donut holes.
You better not have got any. He's going to eat them if he did.
Well, not so much eugenics, but if you don't have, use the brain power that you were given and the logical thought, critical thinking, about addictive substances, whether it be alcohol or opioids or
me. He means
food.
me. They mean me in eugenics.
Yeah.
I read the book. Wasn't interested.
But no, we're not, master race type of people, but people are going to do what they're going to do, and sometimes it enhances the gene pool if that kind of activity is no longer.
That's all I meant. That right there is all I meant about the gene pool. Wasn't anything about eugenics. I've read up on eugenics, and it's just, I'll just say with no comment.
Yeah, it's a
That's a safe way to say that one.
That comes from the progressive side of the spectrum, and I have no interest in that.
Yummy.
Hey, it's better than chocolate.
Hope you enjoy your vanilla donut holes.
Please.
You still ain't hit the right one yet.
And have the blueberry.
See, there it is, right there. That's the right one. They didn't have the blueberry.
You have to get there sooner next time.
Yeah, I do know blueberry sells out quick. This time of the night's not the time to be looking for them.
No.
But that's all right.
I tried.
Vanilla will probably work. Chocolate didn't work at all.
I actually don't trust either one.
Nope. We don't need bigger of either one of them. And we damn sure don't need AI.
Terminator.
Skynet.
Genesis.
I like Twilight Zone better. It's hard to tell what might show up.
Well, big corporations are not about doing the right thing, though they'll stand up in front of a microphone and say, that's what they're about. We're the corporate family and we're all about taking care of our people and doing the right thing. But they're worried about their shareholders in the bottom line. They're, the profit line. They're not worried about doing the right thing for the environment or people or whatever it is.
Where's being me? I don't know. He must have had his own cup full. This one's still sealed up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be rated PG, not R.
That might go beyond R, depending on which way you're looking at it.
C, Y, O.
If you're going to sheets, it's still PG.
Well, it's getting close to my bedtime.
Yeah, getting close to my TV time.
It's getting close time.
Guess what we're going to watch tonight?
What's that?
First episode. Something that the first time I watched it, I watched every episode in 4 seasons twice, back to back. Remember which one that was?
The one I didn't like.
Black Sails.
Oh no, that was not the one I was thinking of. I like Black Sails.
Black Sails. We're going to do it. We're going to watch it again because Dustin's hadn't seen it.
I thought you were talking about Weeds.
Weeds? No, that one's good, but I think he's watched it, some of it.
Oh,
You never seen Weeds?
I didn't like Weeds.
You've never seen Weeds.
That's because I don't like Mary Louise Parker.
who?
The star of Weeds.
The lead. Well, I
You
don't
know,
like.
You've never seen Weeds.
I won't say I don't like the actress. I'll say I don't like the character she played.
No more driving.
Now, just to clarify, I wasn't texting and driving.
That's good.
I don't do that.
So I want to thank everybody that was with us tonight. Appreciate
Wait a
y'all.
minute. Who else? Who else got another question? I like who else's question. That's a pretty cool question. On the political alignment, I stand on the alignment of the Party of Freedom.
Constitutional.
It's the newest party. It's called the Freedom Party.
Let the lions out.
I would say we're constitutionalists.
And they got a donkey, and what's the other one?
Elephant.
And an elephant. We got a lion. We can eat their donkey and their elephant. We got a lion. No, for the most part, who else? Pretty much zero on politics at this point. I'm more along the lines of correcting what I can and teaching the youngins every chance I get about what we should have, which is a constitutional republic, and we should all be free to be ourselves under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's the politics I am.
And be a critical thinker.
Yep. It is something besides a hat rack.
Teach them how to think, not what to think.
Hats fit real good on it, but there should be some activity going on under the hat.
Give them books to read, but teach them how to think, not what to think.
Exactly. That's where we got off on all this, what do they call it, Common Core or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we ended up there. Because all they were doing was teaching them what to think.
Oh, they still are. That's what college is for, is to teach you what to think, not how to think.
It goes up the ladder from preschool up. Every level gets less of how to think and more of what to think.
Yeah, they don't even teach ethics anymore.
And as long as we have public schools without history class, we ain't gonna have much of a country in the near future. That's a big fix that is in that needs done.
So thank you all for coming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
I mean, there he is. Just so everybody knows you made it back safe.
Oh, we got a Shirlene box today.
Oh, good. Cool deal. Yes, me, Ma, you have a great night too. Great weekend. Sounds like we're gonna have wet tomorrow and a real pretty day Sunday.
So until then, be safe, be blessed. More later.
More later.
More later.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.